We've had a pretty good year with new products, and most of these, in all honesty, are premixes or new combinations or new formulations of existing products, but they've been positioned in some very important markets, so in application techniques. So I think that the growers have some good things to look at this coming year. A cautionary note: maintain appropriate expectations, because a lot of times in the advertising you're going to hear that they're going to do a lot of things, and you need to find out what they will do in your specific situation. So have reasonable expectations and don't necessarily commit the entire farm to one particular product that you've never looked at before. I think very good advice. The other thing that was, I think, important that ought to be given a lot more consideration is the stewardship, not just to the glyphosate and the Roundup Ready traits, but in pesticides in general. I think that we need to recognize that appropriate integrated pest management tactics for all pesticides, not just herbicides, but fungicides and insecticides, is absolutely critical to environmental sustainability, but interestingly, critical to economic sustainability. Using these tools in the appropriate manner is critically important and will provide stewardship, and from the weed management perspective will also maintain those populations of resistant weeds kind of at bay. So, you know, we've been talking a lot about just doing the appropriate thing for a stewardship perspective. And then finally, I think, you know, we need to look at one of the big issues that we can anticipate in specific areas in Iowa, volunteer corn control. There's a lot of concern that because of all the herbicide-resistant corn that we're going to have a lot more difficulty in managing volunteer corn in 2008. And after you look at this, and if you step back and really give it a reasonable look, I don't think it's any different than what we've ever dealt with managing corn and corn. In fact, it may be easier. If you've got Liberty Link corn that volunteered this next year and you're planting Roundup Ready corn, we got a very good strategy. And if you got Roundup Ready corn volunteering into Roundup Ready corn, that's no different than corn volunteering into corn anyhow. And similarly, if you have to replant, we got the same kind of options that we've always had, which are saying not very good options. Managing volunteer corn and soybean, it may be a little bit more difficult, but we still have very consistent responses utilizing some of the post-grass herbicides, the FOPs and the DIMs. And so really, I don't know that volunteer corn will be more difficult to manage than it ever has been, irrespective of the trait that may be in the corn. But one thing that we have done, we have demonstrated that there is a very important economic problem. Volunteer corn, 5 plants per 10-foot a row, can cost you up to 5% of your potential yield in corn. So it's imperative that you do manage the volunteer corn and certainly it's an important thing to consider in soybean.